Origins, tracing the roots of success, one leader at a time. A series that goes beyond titles and accolades to uncover the real stories behind great leaders. Success isn't just about milestones. It's about the experiences, challenges, and values that shape visionaries. Through this series, we explore the defining moments, early influences, and leadership philosophies that have driven some of the most inspiring minds. What fuels their ambition? What lessons shaped their path? And how do they continue to impact the world? This is Origins, where leadership meets legacy.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Origins, Tracing the Root of Success, One Leader at a Time, an exclusive leadership series by Indian Conventions. Today, we are privileged to be joined by a distinguished leader whose impact in human resource leadership, business strategy, and organizational transformation has truly been remarkable, Dr. Ranjan Mohapatra. Dr. Mohapatra, the former director of IOCL, has held illustrious career spanning over several decades, over 5 years as a director of HR for Indian Oil, one of the India's largest oil refining and marketing companies. He has been instrumental in shaping the organization's growth and success. A firm believer in power of possibilities, he's consistently demonstrated exceptional leadership, guiding teams forward organizational excellence. Currently, he mentors senior leaderships at NSDC as an advisor, serves as an independent director at OFB Tech Private Limited, and supports several young startups with strategic insights. Dr. Mahapatra is also an accomplished author with his book Plain Speak Management Insights from Life Lessons, garnering the widespread attention. Additionally, he hosts a weekly podcast, Reflections with Ranjan, with 29 episodes aired so far, offering valuable perspectives on leadership and management. His contribution to global HR, training and development are immense, having served the chair of International Federation of Training and Development Organization, Geneva. He has also been a board member of RGIPT and Ford School of Management and served executive board of Scope in senior roles at IMA, FICCI, and CII. An engineer from BITS Pilani with an MBA from XIMB. He holds a PhD in tacit knowledge management from Amity University, recognized as HR Leader of the Year by ETHR, Economic Times Human Capital Awards 2021. Dr. Mohapatra also has been honored with Distinguished Alumni Award by BITS Pilani. Dr. Mohapatra, it's an absolute honor to have you with us today. Welcome. I want to explore your journey, the early influences, defining moments, and the values that shaped your leadership style. Let's begin from the beginning. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rizvi. Thank you so much, and thank you for giving this opportunity, first of all. And it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure sharing my journey with the rest of the world, if it helps anybody. So just to start with about the childhood which you have asked, of course,
Sure.
like all others, all of us, my parents always had a very defining effect on whatever I did. I can tell you that my mother is not very well read. She only studied up to class 9, but can you believe that she has written a poetry book which was published when she was at the age of 72. So this type of inspirations, they have been inspirations to me, and this type of their working, their knowledge and their way of handling us, all of us. We were three kids, we had 3 siblings, and that itself defined what exactly, how we proceed, how we are. Talking about, you asked me a defining moment, there are many, but I can always talk to you about one. I remember I used to be a good student always, so that's okay. That must have come through the genes. So in class 9, and in the meantime, what happened in around class 8, class 9, I became very good at cricket as well. So I used to go on higher. to be in the inverted comma. People used to take me to play for them. It was only class 8. I was hardly 12, 13 years, 14 years old. So class 9 result became extremely bad. So, my father told me that normally once in a year he will sit with me. So after seeing the results, he just told me, "Arey, you have to decide now whether you want to go for cricket or you want to go for your studies. Please decide. Whatever you decide, I'm there to support you." So I think probably I decided that I should go. I mean, I knew cricket will be more difficult probably. So I decided for studies, and thereafter it went. See, he might not have studied management. He's an engineer as well. See, he might not have studied management. See, the way he handled this issue, that has always been something with me, something which has stayed with me. And see, he gave the decision to me. He never forced any decision on me. I mean, that has been always his style, whether going to any engineering college or anywhere. He has always told, decide yourself. I'm there to support you. And that is what is, I think, the best leadership style anybody can have. So it has come from the family. Thank you very much for asking me this question.
I would also like to know that who have been the most important people in your life who have influenced you during your childhood as well as your career, and what motivated you to pursue your engineering from BITS Pilani, and how did it shape out through that process?
Okay, I mean, of course, there are many again to start with. Obviously, my parents, there are a few of my uncles. I mean, one of my uncles who used to always spend a lot of time with me. I mean, my mother used to smile. I mean, always laugh it out. What are you doing for, I mean, almost 2 hours, 3 hours sitting on the dining table? He will be speaking, I'll be listening. But these all things probably formed me up. I mean, probably gave me some ideas about the future. I mean, what I should be doing. Coming back to why did I go to BITS Pilani? Of course, I had a fascination to go for engineering. I told you my father was a mechanical engineer, so I don't know. I mean, he wanted me to go for civil services because I was very good at studies, rank holder in school and college. So he wanted me to go for civil services, but probably I don't know. Inspired by him, I always wanted to go as a mechanical engineer. I thought he कहीं तो चलते हैं ऐसे. So that's how it was. And so I got into IIT. I got in, of course, that those days I'm talking of 80s. The number of seats were very, very, very limited, and I did not get a mechanical engineering there. I joined for one day in mining in Kharagpur, IIT Kharagpur, and in the meantime I got mechanical in BITS Pilani. I got into REC as well. I mean, NITs, which are called RECs those days. So but BITS Pilani was mechanical. And then, of course, another driver was one of my good friends was also going there. So he also got into mechanical. So we decided, chalo, we'll go to BITS Pilani. And if you remember those days, I'm talking again of 1980s when only 5, 6 IITs were there and 5 IITs rather. And BHU had just come in that year into an IIT. And BITS Pilani were very prominent in as far as engineering was considered. And BITS Pilani had a tie-up with MIT. So that's what made it very, very promising. Of course, these days we have many private engineering colleges which have come up. So that really motivated me to go for BITS Pilani, mechanical engineering branch, which I got it. You were asking about shaping me from BITS Pilani. It had a tremendous effect on me. I think many of the peoples might not know that BITS Pilani then in 1980s also had a lot of flexibility on what courses you take, on how you attend classes. The attendance was not compulsory. You can get out of the classes if you don't like. I mean, all those things were there. I mean, in 80s. And to tell you, Rizvi, I did some courses like psychology and economics there also while studying engineering. So this was possible while being in Pilani. So that's how. And plus, it gave me a tharav. It gave me something calmness. It also made me realize the world is full of. I mean, here I was excelling, but there everybody who had come over from everywhere were excellent in their areas. So it gives a realization that where you are and how you have to go further in life.
We'll move to the pivotal career moments, and having led human resources at India's largest corporation. Was there any turning point in your career that has set your path to HR leadership? And what are the most challenging decisions that you had to take during your tenure at IOCL?
Yeah, okay. As you know, you have spoken about my career. All throughout, I was a marketing guy. I mean, I was in sales, I was in logistics, operations. I was more into that. In fact, logistics was my forte for a very long year. But always because of my MBA in HR also, but always I had been a very, I mean, very close to people. One example could be that today also, I mean, just the day before yesterday, I had an interaction with my first boss. I mean, who is now around 84 years old. I have an interaction with him. And in fact, he has requested, Ranjan, next time you are in Gurgaon, please do come to our house and everybody. So I mean, I'm not boasting, but this is what, and similarly, it's not only that. I mean, I also have kept relationship with my first subordinates at that point of time. They all have become, because I joined as a 20-year-old and they were all at that time 30, 40, 50 years old. So they have all become into their 80s and 90s, but still we are in touch. So I have been always close, but the defining moment came when PSB selected me, shortlisted me first of all, and then selected me as a director HR for Indian Oil. I mean, it was definitely, I very much wanted to be part of HR. So that way it was, I mean, I'm thankful to PSB to have really seen that player in me and to have, I mean, I consider it as a blessing. So this is one. Of course, 5 6 year period, 5.5 years period as a director HR was not a, it was a roller coaster ride. But most challenging, to tell you, Rizvi, was when COVID struck. I think my period, I feel God wanted to test my perseverance. I mean, during that period, we all know what happened during COVID, and I don't know really. I mean, how it stuck to me, and we decided. I mean, it was all the COVID related activities was driven by director HR. That was me at that point of time, and we used to monitor it from my level at everything. I mean, if anybody is not getting a place in a hospital, if any treatment has to be given, if medicines have to be flown from some place to the other, somebody is sick in Bangalore, I mean, in Karnataka, in some interior, and we have to. That time, I don't know, you all will remember that was. I used to jokingly call it Ramban. Ramdesvir was very famous, so that's everybody wanted to do. I don't know whether it was useful or not, but if it was not available, we flew it from place. So, and to tell you, every day I used to have a VC with people, with my core HR group, all the HR leaders everywhere and all the locations. I mean, all the refineries, all the marketing headquarters, marketing setups. In addition to that, even with the business people, even with others, continuously we had almost 389 days of continuous VC, be it a Saturday, Sunday, holiday. Of course, that period, initially we were at home for 7 8 days. After that, used to be the one, along with most of my board members and a few senior leaders, we used to be in office only during that period. So, because we had to also ensure that supply is better. Rizvi, you will remember during that period, what happened, your LPG requirement went up very high. And that had to be made available to people because people are all remaining at home, restaurants were closed, people have to cook at home. So that has to be also ensured. Out of many things, this was one thing which was very important. And for that, you have to have people who are in best of their spirits. Your LPG boy has to go to your home to deliver it physically. And we are talking of social distancing at that point of time. So it was a challenging period, but I mean, I'm thankful to the Almighty that He gave me that strength, and I had a fabulous team to support me. And we really made it possible. And the board supported me. I mean, I'll remember everybody, whether the chairman or other board members, will look towards me to ask us, what should we do now? How should we go about it? How do we protect our people? So this is what I think it will remain with me as a challenge, which probably I felt that I have we have taken taken the best out of the situation which was available to us. And of course, we had mishaps, we lost people, but we have taken care of that also. We have taken care of, we came up with
Perfect,
a lot
sir.
of policies to help even our secondary people, tertiary people, our retail outlet boys and the LPG distributors, LPG delivery boys. We helped them as well during that period. So that has been something which will remain with me forever.
The one thing I'd like to ask here, because that was the time when the communication would have been pretty low, and you have all levels of people working. As you just mentioned, that from the agency level, you have employees,
Correct.
and the supply chain was one of the most important thing, and social distancing was on. So, what was the method of communication with these people that was being maintained?
So basically, I told you, the something which we are doing today also. Virtual connection was the best way we connected with people. That was the one thing that we did it. And probably again, I must say, there was there are some things which we did earlier before COVID happened, which helped us in future. Because what happened, most of the people, whether it is LPG and the retail and everywhere, we had a lot of automation which had already started, which were there, and plus use of smartphones by our delivery boys and all these were also available. So that helped us in remaining in touch and communicating with them. I will tell you, there has been time when even I really salute him, our honorable, the then honorable minister, petroleum also told, inspired by all these activities which was happening, even he addressed a lot of LPG delivery boys all across the country. We connected to them and he addressed them not to worry, not really get bothered by all this because they had to go physically to the
Yes.
homes to deliver. So this was the main way. Virtual communication was the main way. But of course, the refinery had to run, the LPG plants had to run, the distributor had to unload, load, take care of safety, everything. So there are a lot of physical activities which was also going on with lots of care, lots of protections which was there.
I'm sure there would be a lot of motivation that has to be given to people. It was a scary time, and people actually were losing
Absolutely.
hope, and
Yeah,
mobilizing them would have been a challenge.
absolutely. And it was a case of life and death. So just imagine families of these delivery boys were not ready to spare these people to go out. They
Yes,
knew, okay, this is their livelihood, but life is more than the livelihood. That is what was there. So we had to protect them. We had to tell them not to worry. We will, with all protection, with all the everything which was available, we will be providing. Plus, of course, that was not, one policy I remember which I brought in and I wrote one line in that. I hope there is a financial implication which is there, but I hope this policy is never utilized by anybody. That policy was that ex gratia to be paid to anybody who loses his life, his or her life. So I wrote personally that I'm bringing this policy just to give, but I hope this is never utilized. I don't want anyone to lose his or her life for this. But of course, God, at that time, I don't know, the situation was so bad. We had very minimal, but we had people losing, company of
big
ours.
challenge, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it gives shivers when you think about it, how we all
Yes.
survived. So, sir, we'll move to your leadership style, and you are an advisor to NSDC and mentor to several startups. What advice do you give to the young professional and entrepreneurs looking to make an impact, and how do you approach leadership when guiding large teams across different functions and industries? And you are master at it because you have already handled numerous teams of various scales. So we should like to hear from you about that.
My advice to startups is a secret, no? It is a professional secret. No, I'm just kidding. So Two, three things. I think first of all, talking about startups, everybody's problem is different. Everybody's issues are different. So each case, when I am treating each of their cases separately, each of their cases differently. That is one. So, but to each of them, my one main advice which remains common, that remember, same size doesn't fit all. I mean, that applies to you with respect to your customers or your stakeholders. That is one thing. And of course, I normally give my two principles. One is that 3D. So I say ki, when you have identified the issue, so the 3D will help you out to take it forward. So 1D is diagnose, the other one is develop, and then deliver. So these are the 3Ds, which is normally an advice to all of them, that you please spend adequate time on diagnosing what way you can solve this issue. So you are a startup because you have identified some pain areas and you want to resolve it. And what are those? Why are those pain areas? What are those pain areas where it is actually hurting? Instead of what manifestations you are seeing, don't go by that. Get into the root of it. So that is, and then develop your plan, whether it's a tech solution or is a physical solution. Take your time to think about it and then deliver well. That's also another thing which I keep on saying, all these youngsters, because they're, let us accept also, they're always in a hurry. I mean, this new generation is is in a bit of hurry. They want to do it fast. They want to do it quick. I'm sorry if I'm stating this, but that is the best part of this new generation. In fact, I love that. I mean, that urgency which is there in them is giving us a lot of scope to innovate and a lot of scope to deliver. But that's what I only advise. One more thing is that when you are delivering, deliver it well. Try to do it the best and the correct and the first time itself. Don't be in a hurry just to deliver, because the way we used to face our problem, our bosses will say, well, please do it immediately. I mean, as if we have to do it yesterday. So they will tell us, and we will in a hurry try to do something which may not be the optimal solution. So that is what has been my advice. Another thing which is also, Rizvi, with you permitting, I can say about, I also talk about this three E's. You also told about during COVID period what I applied. There I learned it. And that I'm also applying it to all the youngsters as well as everybody else. Three E's. Number one, engage with people. Number two, empower your team, empower your people. So engagement or engage, empower. And the third one, which is the most important part, is the big E, as I say. You might have heard me earlier also talking about it, empathize. I think empathy plays the most important role in this period. In everything that you do in future, empathy plays an important role. And you must empathize. So this 3E is also another thing which I leave it with them. Of course, I mean, they have to see how do they really take it forward. But I've been very happy. I mean, a few of these startups are doing really, really well. And I mean, personally, heart-wise, Hriday say, I'm very, very glad.
Are doing wonderful, and the only thing that we see is that many of them die down. That's one
Yeah,
of the
they're
challenges,
not.
as you rightly put across, that we shouldn't be in a hurry and take a decision. There should be a wise and thoughtful approach towards it, and it should be thought through, and appropriate time should be given for them to become sustainable. So probably at times hurry is good. At times it is not good for
Yes,
the organizations as
very
well.
true.
Move to the next part, sir. You have written your book, that is Plain Speak Management and Reflections with Ranjan, as a podcast that is being widely appreciated. So, what is the reason behind it, and why do you start it, and why people should view it and learn from your real life experiences?
Let me be frank with you. Actually, uh, well, while I was in Indian Oil, I used to, address my people. I used to give a give a tag to that, and I used to call it Hriday Se, straight from the heart. So that's what. And this also prompted me to start a continuous series of LinkedIn posts I used to give about my thoughts. And straight from whatever I felt, whatever has helped me, whatever has I have seen around, not only has been important to me, but people around me. So I started posting that in the LinkedIn. And I give me myself a target that daily I'll post one. It was a Herculean task for myself because I know daily posting one becomes difficult, but and while you are working also. So, but still, I gave my task and I completed. When I completed 100, I was thinking, okay, now I can take a break. Then there, my wife comes in and tells, "What is this? How can you take a break with 100 only? Go for 200, no?" So I went up to 200. So there were 200 LinkedIn posts. So while I was posting it, one of my very young colleagues, she told me once, she wrote to me, "Sir, this is LinkedIn post. Yes, it has got a limited year. Why don't you convert it to a book so that at least people can get something out of it?" So that prompted me to go for this. And then I thought, how can I really make it meaningful to others? So I just thought, okay, if these thoughts have, I have lived these thoughts, there must be people around me because they're very common thoughts and very, very well-known thoughts or thoughts which we all see but may not realize. So how others have lived these thoughts around me? So that started the research. So I just researched a few leaders, very known, unknown. There are people, of course, there are people who are very close to my heart. Somebody like a 12-year-old Baji Raut from Orissa, whom I adore. In fact, I used to play, when I was small, I used to play plays, as the Baji Raut of that play. That's why I used to play. So I thought, yeah, inko to mere ko dalna hi hai. I have to put definitely him. And I understood how he has lived his thoughts. How he has lived one of these thoughts. So like that, I have given almost, Rizvi ji, you have read the book, and I am so thankful to you for the review which was published by your team. So I'm extremely thankful. And I have covered almost 300 personals, organizations, institutions who have lived those thoughts. And I've just barely touched them. And my intention is that at least I think readers find some interest and some encouragement to go deep into these people or these organizations to understand how they have lived this thought. So that is how I have written podcast. Obviously, it's a very small podcast, 5 minutes each. And in fact, I've just last week, 31st podcast was published. And this week, the 32nd one will be coming. But they are also from, again, straight from heart as to how my learnings, I'm just trying to give back how my learnings in different situations can be helpful for others as well. I'm just sharing that. I'm just taking out from my mind so that I'm leaving it for everybody so that people can know that how it can be helpful for them in future.
And then coming to the last part, that's about future business leadership. So, what do you look at? The future of HR and talent management over next decades, and what legacy do you hope to leave behind for the leadership and in the space of corporate strategies?
A few days before, 3 days before, I was speaking to my children, my sons, and I was telling them probably I was born early because this period, this time, you all must be feeling that this all time is so challenging and so beautiful and so dynamic. I think it is an interesting time. So coming back to HR, why I am telling this, coming back to HR, whether it is the work or the workplace or the workforce, everything is changing and changing so fast. Today we are talking about artificial intelligence or Gen AI. We are talking of the hybrid working, and somebody tells, no, that we should go back to physical work and physical workplace. And of course, we are talking about the people, the generations which are there. I told you something about the Gen Z, but Gen Z is also becoming older. The new generation, Alpha, Beta, are also trying to come in, and they will be also taking over very soon. And their requirement or their manifestations will be completely different. And my point is that things are happening very fast and it is very interesting time. So we have to, what I always say that all of us here, I mean, whether we are old or young, we all have to learn, keep on learning. And lifelong, I mean, I pride myself being a lifelong learner. And I sort of, I mean, you told also the what legacy do you want to leave. I'm too small to leave a legacy, Rizvi. But if I can inspire a few people to become lifelong learner, I think probably that will be the best thing I could have done. So that's why I keep on saying, because you have to be agile, you have to adapt to the new technologies, you have to adapt to the new scenarios very fast. And that would be possible if you keep on learning, and learning not only limited to books or anything, learning all around you, learning new skills, upgrading your skills, forgetting some skills which we learned earlier. I think probably that is not required. My elder son says, why should I learn driving? I had learned, I have got a, say, but why should I now? Uber is available, Ola is available, all these mobilities are so much available. Why should I bother about driving? I can do work while going in that. I mean, it is right. I mean, we have to see their perspectives as well. I think that, so this is one thing. I thought you learn something new every day. Yesterday or some day, 2 3 days before, I was interacting with some group of people. Somebody told very nicely, sir, I say that I have grown old if I have not learned anything new in every week. That's something phenomenal. That's something phenomenal. And before I stop, before we close on this, I'll give you an example of this. During COVID, again, one of the biggest achievements I feel during that period, which happened, to keep our people engaged, we started these e-learning modules. I mean, e-learning modules. We started soft, we started slow. We told you, okay, we'll have 500 modules. Let's see how it goes. But we started giving it to people. This was a program which was started by our own people. I call it democratic. It was created by our own people. It was for our own people, and it was consumed by our own people as well. So it was completely in-house thing which we did it. And Rizvi, I mean, to tell you very frankly, later on, I went to one of the international conferences when I was telling about this Swadhyay. I mean, we used to call it Swadhyay. And I told there has been 3 million adaptation of this. 3 million. That means, how do you adaptations? You calculate number of people with the number of courses. Multiply, that is the adaptation. And that was 3 billion. Can you believe it? I mean, we had almost 1,500 to 2,000 courses. 1,500 we had developed, and I'm sure it must have gone more now. This multiplied by our people, it became 3 million. And that itself gives me a lot of satisfaction. Yes, something we have left with people to go forward. And people have found relevance, found resonance with that, and have adapted to that. So, yeah, if people still carry on with the learning part, I will be the one, I'll be very happy.
So, Mohapatra, it is phenomenal learning about what you have implemented at IOCL, and the engagement was something, generally we don't put numbers to it. It is remarkable work that has happened. So, sir, with this, we would like to thank you for sharing your journey and your insights on leadership, mentorship, and business transformation. It was truly inspiring. It's been an honor to explore your story, and we are certain that your words will serve as guiding light for the future leaders. We wish you continued success in all your endeavors, both in the leadership and inspiring next generations. Thank you once again for being a part of Origins, tracing the route of success one leader at a time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Rizvi. Thank you once again for having me here. Thank you.